welcome to Focus Garage. Onder is here. We're back into the garage, and what we're going to do today is we're going to install a lowering kit, or whatever you want to call that, on the 2014 R1. The reason I'm doing it is because I just want to be more comfortable putting my feet down with this bike. I know there's a lot of controversial about lowering a perfectly balanced bike, but I don't feel comfortable riding on my tippy toes. I'm not a tall guy, so I know I could get like platform boots or whatever to help me with that, but that's not something that I want to do. This is a route that I'm going. I'm going to lower the back, and then I'm going to lower the front as well, so make it at least keep the same rake and balance, and that way I'll be more comfortable putting my feet down, or in an emergency where I have to, in case I have to lock up the brakes or stuff like that, I would be more in control when it comes to stop. So I went with Soupy's Performance, or however you want to pronounce that, Soupy's, the lowering, because that one has the turnbuckles, so you can lower it at from 0 to 4 inches, I think, and in between, whatever. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to do like an inch, maybe 1.5 inches, depending on how I how comfortable I am. And then we're going to do the same thing with the front, so we keep the same rake. And then the other reason I went with, I can use the stock bolt instead of going with a thicker bolt, so I can use a stock bolt with these. And there's a lot of good feedback on this product, and I'm not sponsored by them, just it's my personal preference. So this is gonna be, I never done it before. I have seen a couple of videos of how you do it, and I'm gonna tackle it the way I think is the way to do it, but you don't have to follow my instruction. This is just my journey of lowering the R1. So take a look at it. I did put the bike on the stands in the front and the rear. I don't know if that's gonna help or not to keep the bike in balance. I mean, sure it will, but once I remove the lowering link, we'll see how that's gonna go. It's really easy. For the rear, at least, you have a 14mm bolt here, and then another one. It's so hard to see, there's no light, but right here, my finger is touching it. So we're gonna do that, and then for the front, you have the clamps down here and up here, the triple, and then you just slide these down, bring the forks back up. So we're gonna measure. So I'm thinking, this correlates more directly than the link here when it comes to lowering. But whatever I find out, I will let you guys know. Maybe inch shorter link may not. I mean, inch longer link may not translate to inch shorter bike. So, but in the front, at least we should have that in the front. So I'm gonna measure. I'm gonna do some measurements. Just it might not be the right measurement points, but at least the delta would give me exactly how much I lower the bike. So yeah, let's start with that and go from there. So here's a tip for the lowering the bike or lifting the bike. Put a jack stand underneath the peg over here. That way your rear swing arm is not holding the weight. It's the peg that's holding it. That way you can work on the suspension way easier. So after you do that, you can easily remove the 2 bolts and nuts that holds the link, and then you can replace it. So let's go take a look at the link over here. This is what we have for the Soupy's. I'm really sorry for butchering your name, but it's a very nice link. The second reason I picked this is besides the good reviews, you can adjust this link on the bike. You can lower and lift, raise up the bike while this link is on the bike. So that way, you go on the bike, you don't like the way it looks or feels, you can go ahead and lower it or raise it easily. So it's a really nice, convenient way of doing it. So let's put this back on the bike and continue working on it. And here's my shop shoes. These are really comfortable. They're disgusting but comfy. But either way, let's get to work. Well, I did the install for the link and also lower the front. So let's go take a look at the link over here. I adjusted it the way I want it. I have an 1.5 inch drop in the back. It's all locked up. Make sure you put the sleeve over here, and you can use the OEM hardware for this installation. So 1.5 inch drop on the rear and an 1.5 inch drop on the front. I had to remove the panels for easy access to the 2 clamp bolt over here, and then the others are over there, and then 2 up here. So here's what I did to make it easy for you guys, give you guys a little bit of tip on how to do the lowering. So I lowered the bottom where the clip-ons go and locked it in place, and then I loosen up the front triple, the top triple, and then the bottom triple, and then just like wiggle this and then get it all the way up, you know. And then I measured it to make sure everything was correct, and then did some little bit of adjustment left to right, make sure we're dropping the bike same height left to right to keep the same performance, suspension performance. So it does stick up a little bit, but it's black, so it blends in pretty good. And same setup over here on this side. You have one over here, one over there, and then you have these 2 bolts over here for the clamps holding this right here. And then test it out. If you don't like it, you can raise it back up and adjust it. And I did my test, and it was really good. I can flat foot it easily. The other thing that I'm going to do is, I haven't ordered, but order a shorter kickstand. I totally forgot about that, but it still stands on the kickstand with no problem. But it's not that. I wouldn't recommend anyone lowering their bike and keeping the OEM stand, because it's not going to work very well. So here it is. We're going to put the bike together and wash it, give it a good wash before the trip. And this is the last thing I'm doing before the trip. And this is more like a, not while riding, but while stopping, and overall comfort mod for this bike, not particularly for the 1,000 mile. But yeah, we're gonna take off in a couple of days and give you guys an overall end of the 1,000 mile. It's gonna be 2,500 miles, end of the 2,500 mile review on all the product that I put on my bike, one by one, or overall all together video. Haven't decided that one yet. So here it is how it sits. It's pretty low to the ground. I'm very comfortable with it. At the stoplights, I can put my both feet down and flat, very nice. And I have done some miles with it, and make sure to retorque those bolts again so they don't loosen up on you. But overall, I'm very pleased with it. Very pleased with the product. Very pleased with how it sits. So far, no other issue. Besides, so I had to bend the plate right here, the bracket, because the extreme condition it was touching. So I made sure that it's not touching anymore. But it didn't happen on the road, so probably won't happen unless I hit a really big bump. Then I'm in other trouble. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. kudos to all. If you guys have any questions, please let us know in the comments, or you guys can reach us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. And like or dislike this video, whatever you want to do. We'll move on from that.